Finally, I kind of want to just talk through in this video at this time, I want to talk through my experience as a Squarespace developer. And so I don't want to bore you with all the details, and if people end up having questions, I may do this again or talk about this again. But basically, this is my story. I started out, I was working in corporate America. I left corporate America. I got one freelance job that was an ongoing freelance job running Google ad campaigns. Absolutely loved it. Actually, let me take one step back. Okay, so it was about 2013. I had just visited a country in Southeast Asia called Myanmar. And when I had gone to Myanmar, I went there on a missionary trip where we were able to go and love on orphans and just be with them. And we went for Christmas and we were able to be there with them, fell in love with the kids. It was a life-changing experience. I absolutely loved it. When I came back, I was curious of how I could help out. And I had heard that they had started a sponsorship program, but it wasn't really running. And my first instinct was, we need to build a website for them. So I used this platform. It was a hideous platform. I don't even remember the name. And it was so funny that I even used them and that they even helped me, because it was like for campaigns. It was like if you were going to become a local mayor and you were running a campaign, it was a website that would help you do that. I don't even know why we decided to use them as a platform. Anyway, as we were going through the process, I built that site. It was a headache. I didn't know how to code at all. There were sections and things that weren't working. The way to sponsor a child, you couldn't actually do it online. You had to submit a form to request to do it, and then we would send you an email with a follow-up of how to do it. It was a mess, a complete mess. And then a few years later, something came out on Squarespace, or like 2 years later, something came out on Squarespace that I was not aware about. And something came out that was a feature that I needed that wasn't there before. And at this point, I literally don't remember what that feature was, but there was some type of feature that I thought, oh, if I just had this would be so beneficial. And so we got it, and I saw the feature. I went through the process. I said, okay, let's move this site to Squarespace. We did all the hard work, uploaded all the kids' profiles. We were able to host it on Squarespace. It was so good once it got up on Squarespace. It was beautiful. It was a really nice process. But I had to build the whole site on Squarespace, and I had never done that before. And so I learned all these ins and outs, how to adjust text, had no idea about H1, H2, H3, had no idea about design, had no idea of how parallax works, had no idea about how to adjust things so in my head so I know they look good on desktop and mobile, how blocks work, none of that. So there was a huge learning curve of just going through the process. But this is something I'm going to talk about over and over and over again. One of the ways I've done, and this is like my story, so I understand if this isn't relevant for someone else, but one of the main things that was so beneficial to me is that I really always tried to think about, there were some aggravating clients to work with, but I always tried to think about the process in terms of, okay, so client pays me $2,000, but truly they should be paying me about $35,000 or $4,000 for the size of the website they want. I would take that L, I would take that loss and build out the site as needed, right? And there's a boundary here to be careful about, so don't quote me on this for any project, but you have to kind of do this for yourself. I built that site knowing, hey, I've never landed a 4K project before. So if I build this site, I'll have this as a reference point to use for my next client when they come and they say, how much do you charge? Or if I ask them, if they ask and they say, oh, our budget's around 3 to 4K, I'll say, great. This website's going to be $39.50 because you just offered, and we'll do a job at $4,000 for you. At the same time, I'd be able to show them that work. So it's kind of been my whole story that way. It's how I got interviewed by Squarespace. It's how I've now helped so many clients. It's always been to start with taking that step to do more work than what was required, so then I could use that for the next client. And there's a certain point where that plateaus, but if you think about it, I did that website for free, that first website. The next website, which we'll get into that part of the story now, I did it on a job where they needed a website. And so I was basically paid to build the website within the company. That was an awesome experience. And then from there is when the freelance world really started. So I kind of like fast forwarded. I'm going to go back and walk through those pieces. But just to give you a clear idea of everything on the table, those are the different pieces that navigate that I think are really, really valuable in this process of just some things to consider, you know, like as you take steps further down the road. So now, okay, let's talk about this. Okay, back to the story. So I built that orphan care website. It was about a year or 2 years after I built the first one. So call it like 2014 or so. I had just graduated college and now I was looking for work. I had a job, left that job, got fired from that job. Interesting story. Then I started working full-time at a company and I was part of the marketing team. It was really cool. On that team, we needed a website built for we were in a global brand for one of the countries that we were marketing in. And so I said, hey, why don't we use Squarespace? I knew the tool. I knew we could build on it quickly and I knew we could adjust on it quickly. So I said, let's build the site on Squarespace. So I think it took me about 20 to 40 hours to build that site, but it was the best thing because I literally was getting paid to build the site because it was just part of working hours. And so I was getting paid to learn how to build the site, even though I had only done it once before. That site actually looked really good. I was really impressed with how it came out because I also had a lot of good feedback working with me on the team that I was working on at the time. It worked out really well. And that project finished, good to go. So around 2016, I believe it was, about 2015, 2016, I ended up leaving that corporate job about 18 months after getting hired there. When I left that corporate job, I found myself working freelance. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I started working freelance. I had one ongoing client that I was running Google ad campaigns for. And so I was learning a lot about Google ad campaigns. I had learned it in the marketing job I just had. So I was doing a lot of campaigns. And as I was doing all those campaigns, I was getting a lot of exposure to how Google works. Now, fast forward 8 months, I left the corporate job in August, and then in about February or March, I was working with a friend who was really good at the freelance game. And he said to me, two friends actually, one of them said to me, they said, hey dude, why don't you run Google Ads for yourself? So if someone types in Squarespace website designer, you show up. And I was like, what? No, I don't want to pay for ads. Who's gonna search that and then like click on my website and try to find me? So reluctantly, I made a landing page. I put down my pricing. I think my pricing was like $950, $1,250, and $1,500. $1,500 sounded ridiculous. 2 days later, my first client messaged me. I remember I woke up that day and went to my computer and looked at it, and I got a message on my email, I got a message on LinkedIn, and the client had messaged me. And I think they even tried to call me at one point. I don't remember. Anyway, I was so ecstatic. I called my mentor friend and I said, hey dude, what the heck is going on? How do I do this call? I have no idea even what to talk about on this call. Like, how do I do a sales call? And so he walked me through it. He's just like, yeah, talk about this. Make sure you have a clear process. Okay, cool. So I said, yeah, the process is 4 steps. First, we do this, 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 this. I'd never done it before. And then so he also said, like, I don't even know how this came up. When I was talking with my friend, he said something like, if you have an upsell, like use it or do it, like a logo or something. He's like, charge like $250 for a logo and you could design a logo. And I was like, whoa, wild. Okay, let me try it. So I get on the phone. It's a shaky call, but it works. It's working. And at a certain point, I say, hey, do you need a logo? He's like, yeah, a logo would be nice. And I'm like, yeah, the logo is $250. He's like, okay, cool, let's do it. And I'd like to do your biggest package 3. What? I literally just made $1,800, and the conversation was 25 minutes max? It was like 20 minutes. To me, that was ridiculous. I couldn't even believe it. And it was really beautiful at the time because it was a design service. At the time, I was paying off a lot of debt too. So having that stable income before the ongoing work covered all my bills. That money, all of it was going to go to pay off debt. And so I knew that was a big number to pay off debt. I had about 20K of debt. So that was almost 10% of my debt was about to get paid off in that moment with that client. And I literally tripped out. 1,800 bucks within a 20-minute call. That was the turning point for me. That was the special moment that really redefined things. And slowly but surely, every other week or so, and even quicker at a certain point, I'd land a new client and I'd land another client and I'd land another client. It was such a cool process to go through. And we'll talk more about all these details of like what that looks like in these other episodes. But I do just want to start with, do web designers use Squarespace? I don't know. They can. Can you start with Squarespace and become a web designer? Yes, you can. I don't know why there's like a shame around it. There needs to not be any shame around it. Do you need a degree or do you need to know how to code? No. Just learn how to really add value. And if you're good with digital tools, that in itself is a plus. That's a huge plus to begin with if you're getting into this world. So I ended that call with the client. And I ended the call and I told them on the call, I'm going to send you a starter kit, which is all the questions of what I need for us to begin the website. I sent him that starter. I literally got off the phone. I made the starter kit, literally a Word document, added a few questions. I'm like, I don't know, what should I say? Brand color. Okay, cool. Tell me brand logo. What do you want for your logo? Content for your website. What content do you want for your site? Built it out. Word document, sent it to him and sent him an invoice. And before you know it, I got the deposit 50% in my bank account. I was so excited. And this is something I think anyone can do if they want to go for it. Do you need to run Google Ads? Do you need to have all these systems in place? No, I really recommend you could start, and you could start exactly where you are. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you're looking for a specific tutorial, please check out our channel. And if you can't find it, let us know in the comments below. What do you need help with to develop your site to make it effective and better for all your users? Finally, sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter is a great way to stay up to date with anything happening on Squarespace, new features, new tutorials that we post, new features for SEO or updates on SEO, any of that stuff that will help you be more effective. Our newsletter is a great way to stay connected with that as updates come. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.